On Thursday issued a guideline to support high-level reform and opening up of the PuDong new area in Shanghai. The document says PuDong is to be built into a shining pearl of a great modern socialist country. The guideline sets goals for PuDong to establish a modernized economy, build modern urban districts, and realize a modernized system of governance in 15 years. By 2035, it aims for the area's development level and international competitiveness to be at the forefront globally. The blueprint also sets the target for the district to become highly attractive, creative, competitive, and influential globally by 2050, as well as become a model of urban governance. In order to achieve these long-term goals, China will provide important channels for PuDong to better utilize domestic and international markets and resources. For instance, the country will optimize allocation of global capital, information, technology, and human resources to shore up support for the real economy. And various financial tests on the open economy will soon be adopted in PuDong, such as preferential tax policies for key high-end industries and pilot yuan offshore trading. Besides economic reforms, the newly issued guideline touches on the refining of urban governance, as the Shanghai municipal government earlier decided to create laws specifically for PuDong new area to promote high-level reform and opening up of the district. Wang Haiyang, CGTN.
For more insights into this, we're now joined by Mr. Liu Zhiqin, Senior Fellow at Renmin University's Chongyang Institute of Financial Studies. Welcome to Global Watch, Professor Liu. First of all, this is actually not the first time for China to single out a region as a pilot zone to roll out some new policies, even legislative powers, to drive the country's development. How does this model work? And why has PuDong new area been chosen once again?
I think there is no surprising that we choose again that PuDong as the model in the leading area for the Chinese economic development. In the past 40 years, we know that PuDong has become very important scenario in China because it has three or triple roles in the development of economy. First, as we said, it is a pioneer to penetrating all difficulties and problems to find the solutions for the reform and opening up. Second is more important, as a navigator. It will navigate all this reform and opening up for the rest of the country. And the third is become more important as a driving engine to develop its economy, not only for PuDong area, but also for the rest of the whole country. That means that the whole country will follow the example and the model to develop their local economy in this way that the whole China can develop as a whole in the near future. So this is a very important and the right decision.
You mentioned a very good word there, to navigate for the rest of the country, but navigate what?
I think in different policies, for instance, the reform and opening up will meet many challenges and problems from outside and also for domestic market. So this is very important for us to see what policies should be followed up. At the very beginning, we have a very famous policy that by touching stone on the water to cross the river. Nowadays, we need a navigator to tell the rest of the world and the rest of the country that to follow up the right policy in the right direction, how to develop its own manner of the economic innovation. So in this way, the navigator is more important than a pioneer.
Well, the guidelines actually listed a set of measures covering topics from urban modernization to enhancing international competitiveness. But what impact will these measures bring to different industries?
Actually, for the different industries, they have more opportunities, more chances to develop their own economy and all the strategic plans. In the past years, that we can see the autonomous is quite important for all companies, and especially for those special development zones. They can make their own decision. They can make their try to get opportunities to develop the new technology. So in this way, that they can do its utmost to cater the needs of the market. This is a very important step for China, that we can put forward our reform and opening up not only to the country but also to the global market. So we hope that in this way that PuDong will play even more important and a significant role and functions to support the world economic recovery.
Another example, a special example set in Shanghai's PuDong, which was a pioneer in China's reform and opening up, was the power of legislation. So in what areas will this kind of reform give the city more freedom?
Yeah, we have to say that PuDong is quite focused on the financial industry. We know that Shanghai and Pudong should become the important the financial base and the stand up for the Chinese economy, but also will be globalized. So in this way that Pudong development will even more focus on its financial strength. So in this way we have to import and impose more multinational financial institutions, and also to support the companies that are to be involved in the financial transactions in order to help also renminbi internationalization. So by doing so that Pudong and Shanghai will become more essential and crucial, even more important, not only for China but also for the global economy. By doing so that China's modernization will be boosted in a very quick and a more efficient way.
All right, Professor Liu, we'll be getting back to you for another matter. Now, also in Shanghai, the carbon trading market has opened. The initial stage covers just the power sector. Online transactions involve over 2,000 companies, and the opening follows a decade-long pilot program aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Yang Chengxi tells us more from Shanghai.
The national carbon trading system is officially in operation. The way it works is quite straightforward. Companies will be given a fixed amount of allowance each year, each one equivalent to 1 metric ton of carbon emissions. They can either buy or sell these allowances based on how much carbon they actually produce. Now, the rules stipulate that each listed transaction should be less than 100,000 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, and there's a 10% price fluctuation limit. Now, on the other hand, larger block trades should be more than 100,000 tons and have a 30% fluctuation limit. Now, one thing to focus on for the first day of trading is how much an allowance will trade for. According to Chinese environment officials previously, the average price would likely be between $6 to $7. Now, that estimate was based on previous regional pilot projects. This is much lower than the $60 to $70 per metric ton in Europe's emission trading program. Predictors say while prices in China would start low, allowances are expected to tighten in the future.
Now let's get back to Professor Liu Zhiqin for more insight into this. Professor Liu, as the world's biggest carbon market, what do you think this carbon trading will bring to China?
I believe the carbon trading will bring more modernization in China. As we know, that 10 years before, China has tried already its first carbon trading practice. But in the past 1 decade, we have already learned and gathered more experiences and the information from the international market. As we know, China is also one of the major carbon emission countries. So in this way, we need a lot of the new technologies and AIs, and also to develop its low carbon industry or low carbon economy. This will involve all kinds of technologies, and also will have great impact on our daily life, not only the companies, but also for personnel. So in this way, we should pay great efforts and more attention to have the carbon trading. Carbon trading in China is becoming more popular, especially in recent time that central government has issued guidelines for the trading deals in China. So in this way, of the carbon trade should have more priorities that in China's modernization, from policy making, from the measures to be taken, and also even from the business activities should be guided and monitored strictly according to the international standard, also for China's standard, because the carbon trade market is independent. So our country should do our best to be the best market for the world.
So this will probably trigger all-round mortification in many areas in China. All right, thank you very much, Professor Liu Zhiqin, Senior Fellow at Renmin University's Chongyang Institute of Financial Studies. Now, as China's national carbon trading scheme goes into practice, its first batch of participants includes over 2,000 companies and power plants from the energy sector. CGTN's Gao Ang finds out how one of them is ramping up efforts to go green.